Blxckmonopoly presents Dope Dialogue.
What's good? You're not tuning in to Dope Dialogue presented by Blxckmonopoly. And today we have a firearms instructor. I know your story's super dope, so I don't want to give away too much in the intro. But without further ado, we got Desstoni Johnson. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good today. How y'all doing?
Nice. I'm chilling. I'm feeling good too. So let's get right into it. Hit me with a little bit of information about who you are and where you're from, and what makes you you.
So I'm Desstoni. I live in Little Rock, Arkansas. I have lived here like my whole life down in people say it's not the South. Arkansas is the South, right? So I'm from Little Rock, Arkansas. I've been shooting for like 7 or 8 years, and I've been instructing for almost 3 years now. I primarily teach women like how to shoot, how to conceal carry. So I have like a lot of those videos on my Instagram page. I post them on TikTok too, but they always delete my content, so I really just chilled on TikTok. But yeah, that's pretty much what I do and where I'm at. I don't currently like travel and teach classes, but I am working on that too.
Cool, got you. So just curious, so your name is Desstoni, but your page is Nina de la Flores. Where did
Yeah,
that name come from?
that was actually my name like when I first made my Instagram, and it wasn't a business page. It was just a random name. Like it's something that my mom used to call me. She calls me her flower child. So like her weird child, I guess, the one that doesn't do anything the traditional way. So I made that my name on Instagram, and then it just kind of stuck. So I never changed it. Like people started calling me Nina because they didn't know that that was like actually a phrase and it wasn't my name, and it stuck. So now I just answer to it, but that's not my name. My name is Desstoni.
Got you. Yeah, I thought when I went on your page, I saw Desstoni and I also saw Nina, so I thought it was like Nina, like the gun, because some people call them that. So
Yeah, but I think that's what people thought. But no, it ain't. It's not my real name, but it's cool.
cool. So what got you into firearms?
Really, it was nothing like traumatic or anything like that. It was just interested. As soon as I turned 21 and I was able to own a gun, I just wanted to own a gun just because I can. It wasn't anything crazy like that. So yeah, it's not. I think like most people expect me to have like this I was traumatized story, or it's nothing like that. I did experience something later that made me take it a bit more seriously, but my initial interest was just I wanted to try to shoot. That's it.
Got you. I remember a while ago you had like kind of like a story on your page of like something that happened. Do you want to get into that in this, or is that something you don't want to speak about?
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Cool, let's get into it. So like, what happened?
So the thing that happened that made me started taking it more seriously was pretty much it was a holiday. It was Thanksgiving, and so I didn't carry my gun. I was a gun owner at the time, but at that point, so this was like 4 years ago, I wasn't taking it as seriously as I do now. As far as like carrying every day, no matter what, no matter where I'm going, it was kind of just like, I have a gun, and when I feel like taking it, I'm going to take it with me, and if I don't feel like it, I'm going to leave it at home, which is the part that like most people are at in their journey. You know what I mean? But what made me take it more seriously is I didn't have my gun that day because it's a holiday, and I was thinking like, who is going to be on crazy stuff on Thanksgiving? Like this is a family chill day, and that day I happened to be a victim of a drive-by shooting. My husband and I, we weren't the targets. We were just like, innocent bystanders caught up in a wrong time, wrong place type of thing. So fortunately, I was not shot, but my husband was, and he's okay. Like he survived and all of that. But I was just thinking, like, they hopped out of the car and like tried to come inside. You know what I mean? We were all defenseless because it's Thanksgiving and nobody's thinking about guns. Well, bad people still are. So I decided from that point on that I was going to start carrying my gun everywhere I go, every place I go that I can legally carry my gun. If it didn't work with my outfit, I'm going to change outfits because I never wanted to feel like that helpless again. I felt so helpless in that moment, and that's not a good feeling. So that's pretty much what made me take it more seriously. I had been a gun owner for like 3 years before that happened, but that was like my turning point as far as concealed carrying consistently.
Got you. Whoa. So aside from that, did anything else change in you from that moment? Like anything mentally, or did you have to go to therapy? How did you grow past that moment?
No, I think it made me a bit more vigilant as far as like just my day to day, like being a bit more situationally aware. I didn't really have like PTSD surrounding the actual event because I knew it was like a one. I don't want to say a one-off occurrence as if it can't happen again, but I knew that I wasn't the target, so I didn't really feel away, as far as like looking or anything like that. I just mentally was like, okay, next time I'm not going to be caught off guard like that. So it changed my mindset as far as situational awareness, but I would say that that's probably it, that's another huge part of being a gun owner because if you're going to carry a gun every day, all day, then you need to know how to avoid like getting in certain situations also, not just handling them when they happen. So it did make me a bit more vigilant. I would say that's probably the only other major thing.
Got you. So with those tips, you're also a gun instructor. How'd you become that? Like what led you on that road?
Just at that point where I decided like I'm gonna start taking this a lot more seriously. I actually didn't want to become an instructor. I wasn't ready to become an instructor yet because I felt like I still had so much more to learn myself. But I was being consistent, so I was going to the range. I set a schedule for myself. 3 times this week I'm going to go to the range. I'm always going to go on this day no matter what. I'm always going to practice on this skill. Next time I'll do that. And I guess my consistency in training and how like my friends and family were seeing me get better and better over time, they just started asking me like, okay, can I go with you? Like, can you show me how you did that or teach me how to shoot or whatever? And it got to a point to where like I was doing this off of strength, right? Just these are my people. I want them to know how to be safe too. And it got to a point where I'm like at the range every weekend for free, like wasting my time teaching people, not wasting my time, but you know what I mean? Like, I'm not making any money being here all day long, every weekend, like teaching people how to shoot. So my husband was like, why don't you think about becoming an instructor? And I was like, yeah, I could get paid, but I'm not ready because I still felt like I only knew like this much more than what people were asking me to teach them. And if I'm going to be an instructor, I would rather have this much support from and like you can get all that knowledge from me, you know what I mean? Versus like I only know a tad bit more than you, so I'm not gonna take your money, I'll just show it to you. So I took what he said into consideration, but I didn't like become an instructor in that moment. I kept practicing and got my skills up to a point where I wanted them to be. And then during the pandemic, I was finally like, okay, I'm going to figure out how to become an instructor like the official way. So it was not only like I felt like I was more confident in my skill set to be able to teach other people, but also, the pandemic kind of drove a lot of people into business ownership. And it's not like I was still gainfully employed at the time, but it was just like, what better time to do it than right now when there's a big push towards, entrepreneurship and business ownership. So I finally went ahead and got the certification. I was teaching before then, but it just kind of made it official.
Got you. That's pretty cool. So I know aside from being an instructor, the firearms world is a pretty big world. What is it like navigating that industry as a Black woman?
Um, like navigating anything else as a Black woman, honestly, like I don't experience, and this is my personal experience. I'm not saying it doesn't happen because I've seen it happen, but I don't experience a whole lot of racism in this industry. I feel like what I more so experience more than that is sexism. I feel like it's my gender that make people not take me seriously and not necessarily like my skin color. So, you still have those guys, like the video that you shared earlier, that are like making dumb comments like, well, what do you need a man for if you have a gun? Or that just make you look so masculine. And like the wildest things, like I care about looking masculine. This is a life or death situation. It's like, I don't care about that. It's just like some people look at it like, you can't really teach me anything. You don't really know anything. You're just trying to look cute with a gun. And it's my skill level is not even. And I have several videos on my page of me shooting, but it's like, she's just a cute girl with guns. Like, don't listen to her. I get that a lot, and that's just based on my gender, not my race necessarily. It's just a woman. Being a woman in this industry is hard. And that's why I created my business, because I primarily train women, and I want to have that environment where women feel comfortable getting their questions answered and learn how to shoot without being, talked to condescendingly or being patronized or anything like that. So that was kind of my vibe behind the business I created, because that was more so my experience versus the racism thing.
Got you. Okay, cool. The Second Amendment has been a political target for a while now. What drives you to want to protect it? Like, why is the right to bear arms important?
After the whole Roe versus Wade thing, um, even before that, right? Women have not been the most like respected individuals in society. So I feel like my motivation to protect the Second Amendment is not, it's because I'm a woman, and I post all the time like gun rights are women's rights. Like I say that phrase a whole lot. I didn't coin the phrase. I heard the phrase before and I'm like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So I say it all the time. It's because women aren't really protected, in society. There are a lot of people, there are a lot of different groups of people of different socioeconomic like positions in society that aren't protected, but women across the board, no matter their age, no matter their race, just the fact that they're female, they're not protected. So me having the right to carry a firearm and have like matching firepower to someone who's a lot bigger than me, a lot stronger than me, has more has a higher position than me in society. If I can have a firearm and even that playing field, then I'm going to do that. So that's my motivation, to protect that right.
For sure, that's real. All right, along the same lines of that question, like assault rifles have been a hot topic as of late too. So, and you let it be known that you're a proud owner and supporter of people having them. Why are assault rifles a necessary tool?
Um, so to backtrack like a little bit, I think that most people have a problem with assault rifles because have like they've been misinformed of what assault rifles actually do, like what they're for. Um, First of all, assault rifle is a political term. Like, there's no such thing as an assault rifle. That's not what AR stands for. It's not, and every AR-15 is not an automatic handgun. When people say assault rifles, what they're to is the semi-automatic rifle. That's it. So it's not a machine gun, which I get those comments all the time. When you're shooting an AR-15, you have to press the trigger every time to make it fire. So that's if you're pressing the trigger fast, then you're rapid firing, but it's not a machine gun of any sense like that. So I feel like when people hear the phrase assault rifle thrown around, that's what scares them, like what it's being called. But we've seen videos of like, I forgot where I saw this video posted, but there was a man who was asking a woman to point out an assault rifle on a photo, and she pointed out like a paintball gun. like the people who are so against assault rifles are usually the most misinformed and wouldn't even know the difference between assault rifles and a regular pistol and a fake gun. You know what I mean? So I'm saying that to say like most of the time when people are against it, it's because they're just uninformed, right? It's no different than a pistol. If you're gonna ban, I say like if you're gonna kill the king, kill the king. Like if you say we don't need assault rifles, then you're saying we don't need semi-automatic handguns, which means we don't need pistols either. We don't need Glocks. Like, be consistent across the board. Don't just, it's just like kind of random to just be like, oh, we're gonna single out this one kind of gun and ban them all, as if it's like an assault rifle. And I'm saying that in quotations because that's the term people use, but it's not a correct term. It's not like an AR-15 is something that one manufacturer makes and we can just shut that one manufacturer down and there are no more AR-15s. It's kind of unreasonable. Several people make AR-15s and they're not weapons of, I guess I can say they're weapons of war, but people have always bought weapons of war. Like black powder rifles were once used in war. Lever action guns were once used in war, and they were available to citizens. So those are weapons of war. That's just a modern firearm. So just because guns have changed doesn't mean that they shouldn't be accessible to regular people anymore. You know what I mean? I think that if we could just inform people about what AR-15s actually are, and what they're actually used for and what they are not, which are weapons just made to kill people. They have several different applications. Then maybe it will get rid of some of that like fear with the gun. So if you're okay with owning any other gun, why are you not okay with owning AR-15s?
Got you. For sure. I learned something new. It seems, if anything, that was like a slippery slope. Maybe they were trying to go after that and then eventually just be like, all right, we're taking every gun.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, got you, got you. And that also leads into the next question I had, which was like, what are some common misconceptions about guns? You just gave a good one right there, but do you have another one you would like to share?
I feel like a main misconception that people have about guns, and I hear this a lot in like several different, people form the concern differently, like they word it differently, but the concern is always that the gun is just gonna go off. Guns don't just go off. Like I've heard women say, I love to carry a gun, but I'm gonna shoot myself. Like, how are you gonna shoot yourself if you don't press the trigger? Like it's the only way that the gun is gonna go off. Or when you see those stories on the news where they're like, oh, the gun just went off and like a kid was killed. Like that's very sad, but the gun didn't just go off and kill that kid. That parent was irresponsible and didn't secure their firearm and left it around the child who was naturally curious because they don't get in trouble for playing with water guns. They don't get in trouble for playing Call of Duty, so they don't know the difference. You never told them about it. So it was an unfortunate accident, but it wasn't an accident, it was negligence. You know what I mean? So I think the biggest misconception that I hear, aside from the whole assault rifle AR-15 debate, is just that guns are ticking time bombs, and they're not. If you learn how to handle firearms safely, then like 100%, like 100% of accidents can be prevented. And it's only like 4 firearm safety rules that people need to remember to avoid having any type of negligent discharge, accident, whatever the case may be.
Got you. And could you glaze over those tips real quick?
Yeah. So number one, you want to make sure you don't point your firearm at anything you wouldn't want to destroy in the first place. So that's including yourself, your children, towards your TV when you're in the house practicing anything that you don't want to destroy. Just don't point it in that direction in the first place, right? So I like to pretend like the phrase I heard when I was first learning that pretend there's like a long red laser coming out of the front of your gun, and anything that it crosses, it will shoot, even if it's empty, which goes into another rule. But anything it crosses, it will shoot. So don't point it in that direction, right? Number two, don't touch the trigger unless you're actually ready to shoot. So you should never be in your house like just, you know, I have my clear gun right here. So you should never be in your house just finger all on the trigger. I don't even want to do it right now, even though you can tell this gun is empty. Like, it's just, I feel so weird, like putting my finger on the trigger when I'm not actually ready to press it and fire it. So if you're not ready to fire, why are you touching the button that makes the gun go bang? You know what I mean? Like, don't touch it and it won't fire. Number three, you want to treat every gun like it's loaded and always know the condition of the firearm. So this is another phrase that, like, I hate to hear. Like, I hate when I'm around people with guns and they, like, hand me a gun that looks like this. And they're like, oh, here, it's unloaded. Well, I don't know that. How can anybody tell that this is an unloaded firearm? Nobody can tell this is an unloaded gun, right? So I'm always going to check for myself. And I'm never going to hand another gun to a person and tell them, oh, it's unloaded, don't worry about it. I want them to check for themselves. Like, you want to treat every gun like it is loaded. And if you don't know the condition, make sure you check the condition of the firearm before you start whatever. Never just assume. And the last rule, you want to make sure you know your target and what's around it, to the right, to the left of it, behind it, before you start shooting. Like, you never want to just blindly fire at something. Like, in the dark, in any direction, through a door, none of that. Like, you need to be able to see your target and know what's around it before you start pulling the trigger. That's how you avoid accidents. Simple as that.
Got you. Cool. All right, let me see. Last question for me. As technology grows and people have access to things like 3D printed guns and everything, what does the future of firearms look like to you as tech continues to grow?
I don't know. Like, I don't even know. Even now, I see some things that I'm like, just like in the gun industry where I'm like, dang, they make that? It's like, I didn't even know that that exists. So I can't call it. I'm excited to see like what it turns into. I know one thing that I've been hearing a whole lot about were smart guns where it requires like a fingerprint or something to press the trigger. I totally don't agree with that at all. That's not something I would want to see. But I don't know what else they'll come up with. I'm excited to see, I guess. Guns modernize over time anyway, so I guess we can only see how much more advanced or simplistic or harder to operate that they'll get based on whatever they decide to do.
Got you. All right, so I'm gonna answer a couple of questions that people sent in.
Yeah,
Chef Teebs said, "Where do you think is the best place to carry if you got a bit of chub? Like, if you maybe if you're a little chubby."
I think that I think it just depends. So like on my page I have several different videos of like different ways to carry, but it's never like a one size fits all type of thing. You just kind of have to, when it comes to holsters, it's trial and error. You just have to try out a bunch and figure out what works better for you. I have like a whole bucket full of like old holsters in my bedroom, like one of those big wooden like baskets that people throw blankets in and stuff. It's full of holsters from top to bottom because I'm just trying out different things, trying to figure out what I like and what's most comfortable, what's most hidden when I put it on, what conceals the best. You just have to try it out and figure it out. If the first thing doesn't work, then retire it and try out something else. So what works for me, because like I'm really curvy, so I can't carry on my side because my hips stick out. So if I put a gun on my hip, the gun is gonna stick out. So I carry in front of my stomach, which is what they call like appendix carry, and that's the way that I decided works better for me. When I first started training, men were like, "Oh, you're supposed to carry the gun over here," but just because that's what you do doesn't mean that that's what's gonna work for me. So I can't tell you what's gonna work best for you because you know how you dress, you know what size gun that you want to carry. Your body type better than an outside person looking in. So you just have to like trial and error and figure out what works better for you.
Got you. Another question from, hopefully I don't butcher this name, but Mahava and Chumu. They said, "Why is a Glock 18C a unicorn besides it being automatic?"
I'm not. I don't think it's a unicorn because I don't like Glocks, so I can't really answer that question. I'm not a Glock person. I'm not a Glock.
Got you. Why not? Like, why don't you like Glocks? Aren't those the guns cops use too, by the way?
They're reliable guns. Like I'm not saying anything bad about Glock. I've shot enough guns to know that there are better guns than Glock out there. Out of firearms. So I just have different preferences over that. It's not a bad gun. It's actually reliable firearm, like, but it's just not my preference.
Got you. What's your preference, real quick?
I like SIGs. I like SIGs and stuff. Probably my favorite two.
How come? Like, why do you like SIGs?
Triggers, so smooth. I'm a trigger. Like that's one reason why I don't like. So it's the triggers on that gun on SIGs, and then on Kenneth also they have like amazing triggers, but I also like the sights better because they're easier to see. Like Glock has those like 3 dot sights, and I know you can change, but I'm also a fan of like spending $600 on a gun and spending like $200-300 to fix it up. If it's not good right out of the box, then I'm kind of a minimalist when it comes to guns. So right out of the box, both of those brands are like perfect. It's like everything I want in a gun. So that's why.
Got you. And the girl with the guns said, "What about holstering for skinny girls? Are there any tips for me?"
Um, I would the same advice for that. You just have to figure out what works best for you. Try out a bunch of different stuff. So and I have seen like a lot of women who are like have a slimmer frame to me using this holster, but it's a holster called Flicker, and I think Lser, Enigma. Um, and I like that holster because it conceals like really well, and I've seen it conceal really well on like women with all different size like bodies, different body types. So I would try that one for sure. But other than that, I would just say like trial and error and figure out what works best for you. Like you're gonna spend like hundreds, probably nearly thousands of dollars on just figuring out what works better for you between the guns and the holsters. Your first gun probably won't be the gun that you always carry around either. Like I got rid of my first gun a long time ago because the more I learned about guns and the more I shot, I'm like, I really don't like this gun. Like you can't base it on if it's the first gun that you've ever shot, then what do you have to compare it to? And that's kind of why I was like, why I'm like that with Glocks, because I've shot enough to know that there are better guns than Glocks, even though Glocks are good. So holsters are the same way. Like, you just have to figure it out, trial and error.
Got you. Cool. Let me see. I think I got a couple more. Hey, hold on. The questions are coming in right now. Hold on. All right, we got one from Fifth Star. Is dry firing necessary when new to firearms?
Yes, absolutely. I would say so. Dry firing is like a really easy and free way to practice working on your fundamentals at home. And so the fundamentals are basically like, there are 5, some people say 7, like fundamentals of fire that help you learn how to shoot accurately. And you can practice the majority of those at home with an empty gun. Like, you don't have to go to the range. So dry firing, when you're dry firing, what you're trying to do, like, so I'm going to use my empty gun right here real quick. And you know it's empty because the breech is open and there's no magazine in here. So when you're dry firing, hold on. I'm making sure anybody can walk in this direction. Okay. When you're dry firing, what you're basically doing is trying to like press your trigger without moving the gun at all. So usually when you're in the range and you're shooting, when people notice that their shots are going like all over the place or whatever, it's because they're aiming, but they're pressing the trigger too hard. So like the gun is moving. Or you're anticipating and you're jumping and making your shots go too low. That's a problem that I see a lot. So when you're dry firing at home, all you're doing is like pressing the trigger without the gun moving at all. So if you don't disturb where you've aimed your gun at, then your shot won't go anywhere but there. That's pretty much all that is. And that's like an invaluable skill that you can just do over and over at. So yeah, I would say dry fire every day if you can.
Got you. Cool. That was a good answer. And you had the demonstration. That's dope. We got another question. Like, also, let me know if you got to go too, or if your battery's about to die, because we got a few questions. Say it again. I'm not sure I heard you because the audio.
I said you're okay right now. I just looked up at it.
Okay, cool. Darker Void said,
Can you
where
hear me
do
now?
you see? Oh, say it again. Okay.
Can you hear me
Darker.
now?
Oh, I can hear you. Darker Void said, where do you see yourself in the future?
I don't know. Like, I'm really not I just told someone this the other day, but I'm really not like a long-term goal setter. So I kind of like just go with the flow type of thing. What I do want though, one thing that I have been working on is being able to hire another instructor for my business. So I'm not the only one that's like teaching every single class and going every single weekend. So I am working on that, but that's not to say that I'm stepping away from my business completely, because I'll never do that. Like, this is my baby. So I don't know. I'll figure it out as I go.
For sure. That's how life works. Let me see. Boom. CNH Sugar said, now that you're carrying daily, have you had to use your weapon?
No. The goal is to not have to use it. So I don't want to have to use it. My goal is just to, like any other gun owner would tell you, like, just get back home at the end of the day. I'm never outside like itching to draw my gun. In fact, that's why I never open carry, because I don't even want people to know that I have it. I don't want to be picked on. I don't want to be singled out in a crowd. I just want to go through life unbothered and go back home at the end of the day. So I always conceal carry for that reason. And fortunately, I haven't had to find myself in a situation where I had to take a life. I don't want to. And I only ever will in defense of my own life, like, or a loved one, obviously. But no, I have not had to draw my gun on anybody, and I don't want to.
Cool. All right, we got one from the Boss Effect. What holster for plus size someone with hips?
I personally like this right here. Oh, shoot. This right here, because I'm really hippie and I'm trying to like get this off without. This is a comfort concealment belt. So this holster is just my holster. I already have this holster. And you can clip any holster onto this belt. So this is the way that I carry sometimes, but it doesn't go around your hips. Like, I put it around my waist. So it's like really high like this. I don't know if you can see it. It's literally like right here, but it's not around my hips, so I don't have to worry about like sticking out because my hips are sticking out or anything like that. I put it around my waist. So if you have like a smaller waist where it's not gonna like bulge through your clothing, I would use one of these. But also the same advice that I gave the girls earlier, just try out a bunch and figure out what you like better, because it's all going to be different on different body types, on different size firearms. Like, it just depends.
Got you. Let me see. Oh, wait, I guess I didn't see this one earlier, but Khalees602 said, can you post the name of that holster?
Which one?
I'm not really sure when the question was asked, but yeah.
Yeah, I'll post the names of both of them. I don't know if she's talking about this or the belt, but I'll post them.
Cool.
I think someone asked me, have I ever done obstacle courses?
Where's that one now? Hold on, let me see. Oh yeah, okay. I'm gonna put it up right there. So have you ever tried obstacle courses? If not, will you?
So I shoot competitions. I've been trying to go like a lot more since I've healed. So last October, I was in a really bad car accident, and I had started to shoot competitively before then, but then I got in a car wreck and I broke my arm. I broke my leg, so I couldn't really be out there running and gunning. Like, I had to wait until I healed. And I went back for the first time in March this year. So that was my first time back. And they are really fun. So they're pretty much, competitions are like set up like obstacle courses. That's really all it is. They give you a stage, like 6 stages that you have to shoot, and it's different targets. Some are like non-threat targets. Some you have to shoot from behind cover. Some you have to shoot while you're leaving, or shoot while you're moving. They're really fun. So right now I do it like once a month because it's the only time I have time to go. Every other weekend I'm actually teaching a class, so I'm going to start trying to do it more often. But I have videos on my page of like some of the matches I've shot, and it's really cool. And they're really beginner friendly. So you don't have to be like a champion shooter to go shoot a competition. Like, you just know how to be safe, for one, and kind of practice to where you have like an unconscious like competence of like the fundamentals of fire, so they're not out there like teaching you how to shoot. But once you know how to shoot and you just want to get better, it's a really good way to like practice your skills. Like, they're not going to be hard on you because you're a rookie. In fact, you can get there early and they'll explain all the rules to you and make sure you understand before they let you shoot. Like, it's really beginner.
Got you. Cool. Let me see. Somebody said, Tyler said, do you use a dry fire system? If so, which one?
No, I don't use the dry fire system. I really just dry fire for my empty fire. Like, that's it. Sometimes I like one of my rounds, and if I have like an empty casing or a dummy round, that's even better because I don't have to worry about it magically falling into my gun. But like, I'll put it here and then try to press the trigger without making that fall. That's how you know if you're being like really steady with your trigger press. But you don't have to, like, if you can afford to spend like $100 or $200 on a dry fire system or more than that, you could just do it with your empty gun. It's the same thing.
Got you. Cool. Let me see. On to the next question. Hold on, I gotta close this one. Z3 Row. Oh yeah. What did you say? Z3 Row said, how do you grow in the Second Amendment community? And who should I contact to get into competitive shooting?
So to answer the second question, but you can do matches at, like, you can ask your local gun range if they do like local matches there, or you can shoot IDPA or USPSA matches if you look up those organizations and see if they have like matches coming up in your area. So it's really easy to get into competition shooting. You don't have to be invited. You don't have to already know anybody. You just show up and you pay your money, get your orientation, and start shooting. And you just get better the more you do it. So first question about how do you get into the 2A community? Was that right? I want to answer the right question. Where did it go? How do you grow in the Second Amendment community. So my experience with that was pretty much just networking on social media. Like I was trying to find and follow like-minded pages. Like that's all I was following and interacting with for a long time. And the algorithm is naturally going to show you like more people who do what, like the type of content that you like to watch. So over time, I just found like so many more people. When I was starting out, actually, most of the pages that I follow were like white men, because that's what you primarily see. But there are people on YouTube that I watch, like Warrior Poet Society. It's a white guy, but he has a really good channel and really good information. But like the more that I started like following these pages, I started finding more like Black people in the 2A community, and it's like a whole lot of us. Like it's a whole community of us. You wouldn't know if you let the media dictate like how you feel about firearms and gun ownership. You wouldn't know that there's like a whole community of legal, skilled Black gun owners out there. So like I guess like social media helped me a lot with that, just finding the people and keeping up with their content. And then once you find like Instagram is like once you find like your people, like your crowd, then they're naturally going to support almost everything that you do. Of course, don't like if you say something dumb, then no. But they're going to support you because they're following you for a reason. So my page just kind of grew from there. Like the more I talked about what I love, people who also love it came over here. So yeah, just networking on social media. And social media is the perfect place to do it because it's free.
Got you. Mellow's Bunker said, would you ever join a competition team? If so, would it be rifle or pistol?
Yes, I would. So here in Arkansas, I don't have a whole lot of like other people who shoot. Like I've have like my friends, my close like instructor friends, but I don't know a whole bunch. I'm trying to find my local tribe here. So I started a gun club here because I'm really trying to find women, preferably like-minded women that I can travel with and take classes with and all that. But I would if I could find like the right team. I totally would. I'm not against that. And it would probably be pistol because that's what I shoot most often. Like I honestly don't shoot rifles a whole bunch, but I feel like pistols are more practical. So I'm more likely to have a pistol on me day to day than be walking around with a big old rifle. So it'll probably be that.
Got you. You going through these questions like a champ. It's cool. I can't even read this name, but 4-3 VATS. All right, whatever. But y'all see it though. Another question: do you see your firearm as a tool or an extension of yourself?
It's basically just a tool. Like, and I didn't think that question through, so I just answered what came to the top of my mind. Like, I think it's just a tool. I don't consider the firearm like an extension of myself because I feel like saying that is almost saying like I'm insecure without it, and that's not the goal. Like, I don't want to be paranoid or vigilant and walking around like I can't leave my gun or that's not what it's supposed to be. It's just a tool to learn how to defend myself, just like I can learn how to defend myself with my hands, or how I can learn how to be situationally aware. Like knowledge of self-awareness and situational awareness is also a tool. Like these are all just tools, different tools that you can choose from to learn how to defend yourself. But now I don't see it as that because I'm not that attached to my gun. Like I like firearms, but I'm not that attached to my gun to where I don't feel like whole without it. So I don't see it as an extension of myself, just a tool.
Got you. And these two questions are kind of the same, well, in a similar field, but we have Nesha P who said, do you have to know a lot about other firearms to be an instructor?
So I don't want to say a lot. Like most certifying agencies, they want you to have like a great like baseline of knowledge about the different platforms of guns. So, but you can pick your specialty, right? So you can get a rifle instructor certification or a pistol instructor certification, but no matter what, they're gonna make sure you're still like versed on any different platform. Because as an instructor, you should have like knowledge of at least some type of baseline knowledge of like most firearms, because that's what people are coming to you to ask, and you don't know like what student you're going to get or what they're going to need help with. So you should at least know like the basics about almost every platform there is out there, but you don't have to like be a pro in like every single platform in order to become an instructor. No, but you still want to get that knowledge like after the fact, just because.
Got you. And the question that connects with that one is from Easy A. What is the first class you need to take to become a firearms instructor? I'm making my climb in the 2A community. We'll shoot together one day.
So yes, we will. So I would ask your state, because gun laws they're so different from state to state. Like, if you want to be recognized as an instructor in your state, I would first ask like your state agency. Here is the state police, but I don't know like who controls it wherever you are. But I would ask them what you need to be recognized by the state as an instructor that's able to teach there. Because like, you can go through the NRA, you can go through the USCCA to take like the instructor courses, but like in Arkansas, they don't even recognize the USCCA. Even though I think the USCCA is like, their curriculum is a bit better than the NRA's, but they don't recognize it. So I had to do the NRA curriculum to be an instructor here. So ask them so you don't do the wrong one. But that's just if you're trying to like get it done. I would take both, like, just because it's not anything wrong with like taking more classes to gain more knowledge. And then if you travel and they don't recognize one, it's like, oh well, I got this one too. So I would just go ahead and do both.
Cool. Let me see. We might be nearing the end of these questions.
Yeah.
Somebody said right here. Hold on, I gotta close this one so it can pop up. This one right here. Rock with the Glock said, how long you been training and how long have you been an instructor?
I've been shooting for almost 8 years, and I've been instructing for almost 3.
You said instructing for almost 3?
Yes.
Cool, got you. I think that's all the questions right there. I'm gonna put this one up because this one shows some love. So hold on. Shout out to Z3 Row. Hopefully I said that right, but he said, I appreciate and value you. And Blxckmonopoly 2 and Desstoni, may our lights shine bright. Thanks for the love, man. Definitely appreciate it.
So I'm probably gonna I think my husband's gonna come to turkey burgers, so I'm gonna get out his way. But I'm probably gonna post a story on my story with like a little Q&A, so I can answer some more questions before I get off social media for the night. So if y'all have more questions, you can drop them in that story.
For sure. Definitely flood to Destiny's page. Like, I love the content you post. It's informative, and it's also dope seeing how like the different techniques on how you discreetly carry.
Yeah. Well, thank y'all for sharing my content. I love this page.
Nah, for sure. All right, so we about to sign off. Definitely appreciate you coming through, being present, showing love, answering all these questions.
Yeah.
For sure. And anything you want me to promote, just send it through. I'm gonna do it anyways, but cool, send it through. I'm excited to see your growth.
Well, thank you for inviting me on here to talk.
Nah, for sure. I see a couple of questions posting up, but guys, flood her story. Like, she's gonna answer more questions on her story. So go there with them questions. We're signing off though. Dope dialogue, Blxckmonopoly. Thank you again, Desstoni, for coming through, being present, answering these questions. And with that, dope dialogue, Blxckmonopoly. We out.